Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We are live with the Islamic Center of Passaic County and the Islamic Education Foundation. We have also guests from Berkeley College. Welcome, everyone. We have on this panel Sister Khaldia Mustafa, who is the Principal and Guidance Director at Al Ghazali Junior Senior High School, with her MA in Teaching Education, MS-ED in Educational Technology from Ramapo College. She is New Jersey certified and earned her CALE when she received her certification in Advanced Educational Leadership from the Harvard Graduate School of Education and was certified through the Principal Center at Harvard University in December of 2019. She has been in the field of education since 1992 in the public sector and began working with the IEF since 1998. She has been in administration since 2005 at both schools at the IEF, Al-Hikmah Elementary and Al Ghazali Junior Senior High School. Alhamdulillah, working with her ummah has been her pride and joy, helping to mold and create strong, confident, and intelligent young Muslims and Muslimas for the past 20 years. We welcome you, Sister Khaldia. Allah yabarak fiki wa iyyakum. And we also have Sister Nada Samo, who is the guidance counselor at Al Ghazali Junior High School. With her MS in clinical mental health counseling and her extensive experience in the field, Nada provides Al Ghazali students with guidance on career development, academic achievement, and behavioral, social, physical, and mental health. Nada's goal is to cultivate a supportive and stimulating environment that allows her students to reach their full potential. Also on this panel, we want to welcome Oscar Vasquez, who is the Financial Aid Fulfillment Coordinator. He has a bachelor's degree in business from City College and 10 years working at Berkeley's College. Welcome, and last but not least, we want to welcome Carol, and I'll let Sister Khaldia take that introduction on, inshallah.
جزاكم الله خيرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وخاتم المرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. I pray inshallah that you are all doing well, are in the best of health, safety, and iman. I pray inshallah that Allah heals all those who are sick due to COVID or any other sicknesses or diseases, and grants mercy and blessings to those who have passed in our community and abroad. Subhanallah, it has been almost 1 year since we had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. It has affected us in many different ways. We have learned so many new things, and inshallah are implementing them to benefit our students and our society at large. I pray that Allah protects you and all of your families. I ask Allah to accept this webinar and the series as a means of me getting closer to Him, getting closer to our community at large, closer to the communities that want to learn more about getting closer to the college of preparation process, getting knowledge, inshallah. And I pray that Allah accepts this as beneficial knowledge, inshallah, sharing the experiences that we have gained throughout the years of working in counseling and guidance and education. You know, Rabbana subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, قُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا نَافِعًا. And I hope that this will be ilman nafi'an that I can share with my blessed community, students, parents, and alhamdulillah, this is just an honor and a blessing to be here. I am very blessed to be a part of this community, blessed to be a part of the Islamic Education Foundation. Alhamdulillah, it is a privilege and an honor to be here tonight with you all. Please allow me to thank you all for joining us tonight and giving us your time, your valuable time, I'm sure. This will be the first of our 3-part college series. Inshallah, we are here to help guide our precious students and youth and their families in the college application and preparation process here. I would like to thank, of course, the Islamic Center of Passaic County, and especially our dear sister Rana for all of her help and efforts in facilitating these webinars and giving the IEF and the Islamic Education Foundation Al-Ghazali High School this airtime. Barakallah fikum. Thank you very much. I also want to give a big shout out to the Sudanese community, the Northern Jersey Sudanese community, who reached out to me previously a couple of months ago and said, I wish you can, help us with the college application process and help our students. And, I took that very seriously, and I'm glad that I'm able to be here tonight to help them as much as I can. I will be leaving my email for you as well. And anyone interested in learning more or continuously getting tips from us, please feel free to leave your emails and we will reach you. We will put you as a part of a group to get more information. So thank you, Abu Karim, for introducing the Sudanese community to me. And I'd like to thank the PAC Center as well for asking their community to join us, and my school community. Jazakumullah khair. And of course, I have to thank Sister Neda Samu for all that she does for our students in our school. MashaAllah, her educational background and expertise in social counseling as well as academic counseling has really, I believe, she has flourished in the past 2 years. I can say, MashaAllah, thank you very much for all you're doing. And then last but not least, of course, I'd like to thank our guests from the Berkeley College, Ms. Carol and Oscar, for joining us today to give us, your expertise and your tips on the financial aid process. We are very thankful for the relationship that we have with you and the help that you always give us when we need it. I know, Ms. Carol, I've been with you for many years. I've been to your dinners and I've been to the scholarship award ceremonies that you've given our students. Jazakumullah khair. It's really been a blessing and honor to work with you. And I'm really proud, and I'm going to say I'm very proud to say that Al-Ghazali High School has many relationships with many of the universities in our area and abroad. And this is something that we really pride ourselves in. And working for the many years that we've been in college counseling, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, we have been in the high school since, I believe, 1990, the IEF graduating students successfully. I have been at Al-Ghazali High School since 2007. Before that, I started in Al-Hikmah Elementary School where I was teaching, and then later on became, vice principal and then principal, and moved on to counseling in Al-Ghazali High School. And I'd like to thank from the bottom of my heart my dear sister and colleague, I hope she's here, Sister Hayat Janoudi, who is Al-Hikmah Elementary's principal, who actually, paved the way to the successes that we have in counseling. I started when I worked with her in 2007. And then from there, I just took as many courses and lessons and, just experience to get the process going for our students in our community. Alhamdulillah, we have a very high success rate. We are graduating at least 70 students per year in our graduating class with 100% acceptance rate to universities, prestigious universities from all around, Ivy Leagues, higher tier, state schools, private schools, mashallah, alhamdulillah, shukr lillah, barakallah fikum. And in this series, what we're hoping to accomplish is to share the many tips that we have on the college preparation process. We want to teach our students how to build a high school resume. This will be in much more detail. I do have a presentation that I will be sharing with you. Inshallah, encouraging our youth to start early. It is never too early to begin the college prep and getting yourself ready to get into the college, inshallah. We also will be talking about the actual college application process, what it entails, what is a common application, how to build a strong application, what will make you stand out as a student, how to build your resume, again, with the high GPAs and taking the standardized tests that are required. I know that now it's a little bit changed since COVID. I know this year many of the universities are opting out of students giving in the SAT scores or the ACT scores because it was just a very difficult year on a lot of those students, who were canceled due to COVID and all of the things that we hear about. How to have a very high rigorous course selection in your high school classes, your extracurricular activities. All this I will be speaking about in detail, inshallah. Recommendation letters, extremely, extremely important. And I know, Carol, you can probably vouch for that, how important recommendation letters are to the counselors. Yes,
Oh,
Carol?
incredible. And in fact, I am reading a book, Who Gets In and Why?
Yes.
And I'll put it in the
Extremely
chat. It's amazing because I have a senior who's going through this process also. So she had applied to several schools, and this year the admissions offices are turned on their heads.
Oh, yes.
No rhyme or reason of what's going on. And many students are applying up from where they would have normally applied because they feel they have the rigor in their transcripts.
They have it, yes.
They might not have had the test scores. So the admissions offices are kind of overwhelmed. I have a lot of friends in the industry, and a lot of them are seeing an increase up to 30 to 40% of applications
Yes.
to their schools.
Yes, and especially the guidance counselor's recommendation is something that is really important. So I always tell students, make sure you build a great record with your school and with your counselors and a relationship, and your teachers see what type of student you are, because that letter can make it or break it for so many.
And this book that I'm reading really talks about how you really do need to stand out, and you can't just write the same letter for each institution, because each institution may be looking for something else.
Yes.
So you need to really highlight you and what you do and what you believe in and what you will bring to that college's community.
Yes, and that's something I'm going to touch on in detail later on as well. I don't know if we'll be able to do that tonight, but I definitely want to talk about how to stand out and what makes you unique for the college to accept, since so many applications are coming in at the same time and so much competition. Many students are doing amazing, especially when you talk about Ivy Leagues. The applicants are really high rigor and high level. So how can you stand out will be something we talk about, inshallah. And also, we will discuss the cost of colleges today. I know a lot of people have to, really worry about that, as college and university sometimes can be a very big bill. And with our community, we try to stay away from taking loans or causing any of our families to pay interest and all of that, which we believe is forbidden. We do not pay any type of interest. So we want to really learn from you how tips and tricks and how to get financial aid, the process in financial aid. I know we're going to talk about federal, the FAFSA financial aid application, the HESA, which is the state aid, how to get scholarships. I'm going to do something where I will let you know the different types of scholarships that are offered in universities, how to get one, which can be merit-based, based on your grades, based on your performance, based on even your extracurriculars. You can get scholarships. I don't know, probably Carol or Oscar, I know we always recommend that our students make accounts with raise.me, which gives them scholarship based on their grades, the courses that they're taking, the volunteer hours, the awards that they win. So they actually compile a lot of money while being in ninth grade, starting in ninth grade. Are you mute? I think she muted.
Yeah, you really need to start to look for scholarship early. Raise Me is
on.
And there are some other scholarship search is out there that you can use, but also make sure you use your community, because I'm sure that your community is massive and has a lot of scholarships out there. So you want to make sure that you talk with your counselor and make sure you find out what is available to you and apply for everything you can get your hands on.
Even in private.
To do. Go ahead.
When we talk about private scholarships, those are actually applications that they have to do in order to, again, you're in a competition when you're doing a lot of the private applications. But I always try to tell my students, your grades are going to matter so much, where,
absolutely.
In institutional scholarships are really, sometimes many of our students are getting, full rides because they did so well, where you're offering them an entire scholarship for 4 years, where sometimes paying nothing or minimal, amounts, or they're getting half or partial or some type of scholarships, but really work hard. And that's why I want you to start as early as possible to get yourself used to being that student that has the high work ethic and is really trying to build a really good resume that way. So inshallah, now I'm going to leave the floor to the financial aid officers for about 10 to 15 minutes or however you need. And then I will continue if anybody has any questions before then. If anyone has a question now, we can answer it. We can answer that. And then we'll leave the floor to Carol and Oscar to talk about financial aid process.
And I'm going to actually start before Oscar is going to get into more of the overview of how to do the FAFSA and what comes from the FAFSA. One of the things that you have to realize that it was stated before that your transcript plays a big part in the merit-based aid process. And each school uses merit-based aid differently. Usually merit-based aid is granted through the admissions process. Okay, so when an admissions officer reads your file and looks at your transcript, there are scholarships that could go along with that. Many times in certain institutions, you might have to apply for certain scholarships, but many times just through the admissions process, we grant aid. So at Berkeley, I can speak for the students who come to Berkeley, we give out merit-based aid starting at a 2.5 grade point average, but it's scaled up as the grade point average goes up. Then we have an opportunity for students to get a partial tuition scholarship, which you have a senior there who's getting a partial tuition scholarship. It's the presidential scholarship, which is actually 1/2 tuition. And then at Berkeley, we have an honors program. If students go into the honors program, they either get a half or a full tuition scholarship. So each school works merit-based aid a little differently. So you need to really get on those websites. And if you're interested in a school, pull up their financial aid page and find out how they're really working their merit-based aid. I know of a school that you had to have an application in for a certain merit-based aid by December 15th. So you really need to make sure that you're being proactive and looking at that college and looking at what's available in the merit-based aid. I need to let you know that the higher the level of the education that you're going to get, as far as the Ivies and the selective colleges, many times merit-based aid is not there. There's need-based aid, and that comes from the FAFSA. But many times there will be out-of-pocket expenses. So, you have to look at the level of the institution that you're applying and what they actually give. And there is Oscar can go into it about the net price calculator. Everyone who is in a college has to have a net price calculator on their website. So you can use that to look at what your average payment to the college would be. And that's a really great tool. So
yes,
now,
the net price
I'm going to turn it over to Oscar. Go, Oscar.
The net price calculator allows you to compare different colleges and their cost and an estimated financial aid package. So that when your students are going to look up their colleges, they'll look at the net price calculator and they'll compare different colleges, what the average scholarship they offer, and what is the net price. In other words, what is actually going to cost them out of pocket after they receive all the scholarships from the federal government, from the state, and then it's going to show them this is your balance after all your financial aid is applied to your account. And they compare across colleges. I believe they allow up to 3 colleges to compare them. So that's a tool that will educate them in making the decision, financially the decision. Now, the financial aid really starts with a FAFSA. That's the primary application. 99% of the colleges will require the FAFSA application. That's whether they are applying for need-based or academic. They want to see the family's financial situation before some colleges award them some of their own institutional funds. So you say you're going to be following up. It's a sequel with the FAFSA step-by-step. We can do that. I mean, the Pell Grant, it's awarding upwards of $6,000. The New Jersey grant is offering upwards of $12,000. So right there, you have approximately $18,000 you have to consider what colleges you go to, because if you go out of the state of New Jersey because you want to do room and board or what have you, you are going to lose the New York State grant. That's approximately $12,000. To that, they're going to add the room and board, which is usually around another $15,000. So going out of state, I mean, if you really can afford it, go for it. That's your favorite college, go for it. But you have to keep in mind the costs. You don't want to start college now and then later on figure out that you can't continue to make the payments. But the primary application, it is the FAFSA application. That's where it all begins.
Mhm.
It allows you to add up to 10 schools. If you have more than 10 schools, let's hope not. But if you do, then you can go in there 3 days after the FAFSA is processed, delete some because they already received your information, and add the others. Now, like Carol was saying, a lot of colleges offer merit-based scholarships. At Berkeley, we look at the last transcript. So if your students have time to improve those grades, hey, go for it. Go and see your counselors or your teachers.
Well,
and ask them.
If I interrupt you, Oscar, because I hope I have a lot of students listening right now, because a lot of the students sometimes might slack off towards the end of the year. They've gotten accepted, and they know. So I want them to hear, that you are actually looking at their final transcript, and that can actually
Absolutely.
make them get their scholarship up or down.
Sister Mustafa, and let me tell you that when you get your college applications, they say that this is not a final acceptance.
And I always explain that. We always do.
They will take it back because it's preliminary, okay? But they want to see that you finish the grades, because if you start to fail and your grade point average goes down, they could take it right back.
And take it right back. And I just really hope that kids are listening.
And a lot of the scholarships are awarded based on that GPA. So, for example, if you come in with a 3.0 and then you drop to a 2.2 or 2.1, you are going to lose that scholarship during the second or third semester. So you got to keep your grades up regardless. It's not just now my final transcript.
Yes.
College is not a game. I'm sorry.
We tell them that all the time. Hopefully they're listening.
Yeah, and we want, make sure all the parents that are on are also always encouraging, their seniors to keep going. And I know at the end, everybody kind of wants to give up and, that's it, I'm tired. But, it's very important to
I tell
keep
my
it
high
up.
school students that if they have a teacher they don't like, start liking that teacher and ask for extra help, because that's going to increase your merit scholarship. So basically, it's federal, state, and merit. As far as loans, they are available if you guys are interested, but I understand if you're not. But they are available from the federal government. So there are federal student loans for students up to $5,500 a year, and for parents for as much as they need to cover the education expense.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you also explain the difference between a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan? Because that's something that is very important for parents to know before accepting it.
There is a subsidized student loan for the students, $3,500 a year. It's interest-free until 6 months after they graduate. So repayment for these student loans, and including the parent loans, if that's an option, will not begin repayment until 6 months after the student graduates. So you're planning for the long term. It's not like you're going to take a loan.
We do try to stay away from paying any type of interest in our.
So that you would be looking at the subsidized Stafford loan.
Subsidized loan. If you needed it, you would not be paying any interest at all throughout the college career until after the student graduated and 6 months. So if you paid it before then, you would have
no interest. That is correct. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and let me point something out. Many people think loans are always bad, but this will establish credit in the student's name. So when they do go to purchase a house or something like that, they actually have that credit in their name. So even if you paid it off when it's due, when the student graduates a college, it actually could help them in the future.
That is correct. It starts establishing their credit. As long as they pay it before the 6 months after they graduate, they'll be fine. They will not accrue any interest. That is correct. I mean, we will be following up with a step-by-step FAFSA. Parents will need their 2019 federal tax return. So will the students. If there are parents who do not have a social, please do not worry about that. The FAFSA does not require a social security number for the parents. So when completing it, instead of putting a social security number, we will put all zeros. It does not affect any immigration status or what have you. So it's very important to keep that in mind. There are a lot of parents that get scared. No, the FAFSA is not based on you, the parent. It's based on the student as far as the eligibility, because they're the ones who have a social security number. So if there is a parent that doesn't have a social, please do not worry. Don't let that stop you from applying for financial aid. Now, as far as other scholarships, let's see.
Oscar, how
Yes.
about parents who don't have, who don't file their taxes? Who haven't like,
They
who
are
don't- are not
required
employed?
to file based on a metrics. I mean, if they're required to file, they have to file. I will be forwarding to you the filing tree, they call it, where it says if you make so much, you have to file. Okay, if they have not filed and they were required to file, they have to file before they can complete the FAFSA application.
How about if they have not filed and they are not required to file?
Then that's perfectly fine. They're not required to file. They will be reporting how much income they made, of course, because that's what the FAFSA is going to use to determine their eligibility. But if they're not required to file, it's not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Excellent.
As far as
we have-
certain,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do we have any questions, Sister Neda?
We had one question, but when Oscar's done, then I can
Okay.
redirect it to you.
Okay.
as far as searching for scholarships, if you have to pay to get a scholarship, that's probably a scam. So, it's if you have to pay to do the free application for federal student aid, that is definitely a scam as well. It is a free process. You shouldn't have to pay to be looking for scholarships. So be careful out there.
And another thing that I see our students a lot of times when they're filing for the FAFSA, they don't seem to, file for the HESA, which is the state, because it's not actually a part of the FAFSA. It's a separate application. So I always try to remind the students that if you want the state aid, you have to also file with the HESA. That's two separate
That is
things.
true. I believe that was true for last year. I think this year they no longer have to
put
do
in-
that.
They changed it. They changed
put
it.
it-
It automatically goes into New Jersey
So
from
when they
the.
do the FAFSA, it
Finally,
automatically-
we've been hoping for that, finally.
Last year you
even
had
though
to
they still have the link.
this year.
That's great that they've
That's a
linked
tough one
it.
to deal with.
Good, thank you.
No, that was a good change. That was a fabulous change because it took
It
a
was
lot-
always an issue that they would say, oh, you haven't applied for your HESA, so you have to go back and do a whole application. That's excellent.
Yeah,
And I know a
now
lot
it
of our
automatically
were
goes
confused
to-
about that. Yeah, they were confused
I'm
about that
waiting-
because they were
waiting
like,
for New York to do that. We haven't done that yet.
But I think you have to go all the way down and get the link, right? So sometimes
Ironically, it still has the link to apply for, for the scholarship, even though it's not necessary.
Well, and let me bring up a point. When you go to the HESA workshop, and when you go to the HESA website, there's a lot of tools there for you. So that's always a nice place to visit during your college search process because they have a wealth of information on that website.
Mhm. And I also will be sharing a lot of those links with you in the presentation that I have. We'll be sharing all of those links, all the resources that you may need, to help you through the process. And inshallah, we will be here for you as well with any questions that we can answer.
we do have one question that's asking us to walk them through the scholarship process. How do I go about it? Like they were saying before, Sister Khaldia mentioned before, a lot of scholarships that you get are merit-based.
Mhm.
And there are also some places that you can go, like the collegeboard.org. And if you go to scroll down and you go to Big Future, you'll see a lot of different scholarship applications there that you just put in, like if you're a U.S. citizen or not, if you're a male or female, then those scholarships will just come up according to the information that you entered. So,
So
Khaldia, do you
we'll-
have any suggestions
Well,
about that?
I think we'll explain to them in more detail the difference between what is an institutional scholarship, what is a private scholarship, what type of schools gives, scholarships, because there are, I think, Carol, you might have mentioned it before, when you're talking about Ivy League schools, the majority of those schools are not giving any merit-based scholarships because amount of students that are applying there will all get that scholarship based on their record, of high grades, high SAT scores, and all of that. So it's more need-based, where you're filing the financial aid application that Oscar's talking about, and they're looking at the financial income of the parents, right, and of the student if they work, and then they're assessing how much money based on need can they give them. But I would like to add, for the the Ivy League schools, you can also fill out the CSS profile, which will actually help you a lot more in Ivy League schools to get the financial aid need as a higher level, because I think the bracket for getting financial aid in New Jersey, depending on the size of the family, it's I think a little bit, maybe about 70,000 or so, depending on maybe a family of 6 or 7. If you're making less than that, then you probably will be getting a lot of aid. But if you're making more than that with financial aid, they don't really consider your expenses that you have,
Right.
and all of
That's
the things.
absolutely true.
Yeah, so they don't consider all of the expenses in the FAFSA. They just say, okay, you make this much, you can afford this much, or you can't. But with the CSS profile, you actually can put in your expenses, your mortgage, your other students in colleges, and they will look at that as different. So your income can be higher, and you will get much more money from the Ivy League schools based on financial need. So I do
That is
see that.
correct.
Yeah, I do.
90% of the Ivies will require the CSS.
Yes, and I think that's to the benefit of the family and the kids going in. It does.
And they should start early, because that CSS app is huge. So,
It's huge, and it's actually on the College Board. It's in the College Board, and I will be sharing all this as well in more detail later.
And I
and
must say,
depending on the income, they can waive the application fee, because
Yes, and we do have financial aid, for even fee waivers, at our school for our students who qualify for that, so they don't have to pay. When we talk about the applications later, some of our students, mashallah, they're very high achievers. They can apply to almost 20 schools or more at one time, which each college is asking for a minimum of $75, $100.
It adds up.
So it really adds up. But now, if you show a financial need, those fees can get waived. So we always tell our students, and I know, Sister Neda, you started the year by giving them the guidelines of meeting. I think it's called the EOF program that we follow. The EOF programs and the New Jersey State, guidelines on income for receiving fee waivers. So, we really, if we can help, we would love to help anyone here. So you can reach out to us. We can give you more information as well.
Now, in order to apply for the FAFSA, the parents and the students have to create an FSA ID, which is a username and a password, to actually finish the FAFSA, sign it. So they should start doing that as soon as they can. There is My Student Aid app for the iPhone. Students are more savvy than us, I would say. They'll do a FAFSA. Yes, so that is a good tool, a perfect tool for the students. My Student Aid app. They should look it up, download it, and create a username and password for themselves and the parents. Any questions?
We have a question. A student is asking, it's a little bit not related to the topic, but as a high school junior, they're asking whether you recommend going to community college or university, especially that they're not sure what they're majoring in. I guess we can answer this.
We can answer that.
Yeah, and how about costs? Let's talk about.
For cost,
you have to weigh the cost. Basically,
you have to weigh the cost, definitely.
Yes.
Because I think,
an Ivy right now is like $250, so we gotta be.
Yes,
have to understand that.
So I think it really depends on the student themselves, right? It depends on many variables, like, how you're doing in high school, number one, your record, your high school resume, how well you did, how not well, and even your family income, are they able to maybe get a scholarship? Maybe they're not, so that will be a big burden on them, maybe, to pay for college for you. And you have to also see, what you want to major in. I do not put down community colleges at all. sometimes it's actually a very good place to start for some students. You know, you could build your foundation there, do as best as you can, get the highest grades that you can build a resume for yourself in the community college in those 2 years before you finish, so that when you do transfer to the four-year universities, you know, you can go anywhere you want. I know that many students have started at the community level and have been, transferred to Ivy Leagues, to upper tier, to state schools. You know, again, it depends on how well you do in that school. I mean, I wouldn't put it
Absolutely,
down.
and at the end, the last degree is the one that really counts. So you have to keep that in mind.
It's really,
Community,
yeah.
you transfer, you graduate from Columbia, Harvard,
Yes.
even though you started in the community college. So
Yes, and even there are many community colleges who have programs that, you can join in and already know, like, okay, I'll be transferring to this school in 2 years. They have programs that they connect each other right away. You don't even have to apply as a transfer student. So if you need more help, whoever, that student is, Neda, and, they can reach out to us or can give us their email. And if they need any type of help or advice, we'd be willing to give that to them.
Absolutely. Sister Dana shared our emails, so whoever would like to email us individually, please feel free to. They're towards the top in the comment section.
And Carol, you want to go over our associate's degree? Students with the associate's degree, they get a scholarship from us as well?
What was that, Oscar?
The students who come to us with an associate's, don't they get a scholarship from us?
Actually, yes, it's a transfer opportunity grant that they come from a community college, and it depends on their grade point average from community college, and actually goes up to a half tuition scholarship, but it's assessed upon acceptance to this college.
So there you go. That's a perfect example where you start in a community college and then you go on to pursue your bachelor's degree. But again, I can leave you with create the user ID, create the password for both so that you guys can be ready to go. If we're going to pursue a step-by-step FAFSA with you guys, you have to be ready, get together your 2019 federal tax return information. If you're all ready, we can finish a FAFSA in about 20 minutes.
And let me just point out with that FAFSA ID, parents, you'll use that for all your children. So you need to save it. So if you have 3 children and one's still in elementary school, you're still going to use that ID when they get to college.
So it's something you have to hold on to save.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So are you doing the step-by-step now? Did anybody?
Us or?
Well, I think when you do the step-by-step, we'd have to have the senior parents. And I think some of them have probably done it already. But
I think
we'd have them there with their tax forms, and then Oscar can walk them through each page of the FAFSA.
Okay. I mean, our seniors are finished mostly by now. So for the next year, our juniors, we'd be interested again and maybe
in October. In October, we can do it, okay? Because the FAFSA is October 1st. And then if they have their taxes from 2019, they'll, be 2020, they'll be able to do it in October.
So Oscar, if there are non-students who are watching right now, not from El Ghazali High School, but from the community who are watching right now, can they reach out to you if they need help completing the FAFSA step-by-step?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. They can set that up by Carol. We can all set it up. It would be best if you get a group together, or as many as you can, and we will do a step-by-step webinar.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that help. Okay.
Any other questions?
Anything else? Any questions for?
No questions, but just to make sure, Oscar, I understood you correctly, you would want them to email Carol, and then Carol will relay the message to you. Is that correct?
Yes, you'll set it up. Correct.
All right. Someone's asking if they can create a FAFSA account while they're a junior in high school.
No.
No. Okay.
They're all going to be asked for the FAFSA. Are they registered for selective service? That is a must.
I mean, we do have students at Al Ghazali High School that actually graduate as juniors, so they do apply.
Oh, that's different then. If they graduate,
they have met the requirements. So I guess it's more about meeting the requirements than the grade level, I think, in applying.
If they're graduating in January, I'm sorry, then the spring
No, they're
semester-
graduating as juniors. They're early graduates.
Oh,
So we
then
do have
absolutely, yes.
we do have that program for students who will actually graduate, you know, as an 11th grader and would have met all of the New Jersey state requirements for graduation and receiving their diploma. So
No,
they-
okay, if they're graduating, then yes, absolutely.
yes. Okay. I mean, if there's no one else that has questions for our dear guests, Oscar and Carol, I think maybe then I could continue and start some of the presentation that I have.
I don't see any more questions, so
Okay.
thank you, Carol. And thank you, Oscar.
Thank you,
All right,
Carol.
guys, good evening.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Oscar.
Good evening.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair again, everyone. I'm not sure how many people are listening, but again, I'll welcome you again tonight and hope that you are, you know, benefiting from this webinar and that in the series that we have, inshallah, you will kind of get the idea of what colleges expect from you, what is expected from you as a high school student or even a middle school student. We're not only talking to high school students here. I hope I have a lot of middle schoolers listening to me, because it is very important to start early, and the parents to start your kids early on the path of success. And, you know, being that we, you know, alhamdulillah, we are in an Islamic school and we are, you know, helping to guide our students, not only academically, but of course, Islamically. You know, that is more important to us than preparing ourselves for college. It's really preparing yourself for life, preparing yourself for your akhirah. This is, I mean, the college prep, yes, it is our duty by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to seek as much knowledge as we can, to learn as much as we can, and to use that knowledge to benefit others with it. So what is our goal for getting into college? What is our goal for getting into the career that we want or the path that we want to take? What is that? What is the goal? I want you to ask yourself that. And I hope it's not for petty things of, you know, material things that the world, you know, wants us to have, you know, it's pushing us to have. It should not be about, I want to become a doctor so I can be, you know, wealthy and rich and have a big, beautiful, giant house and have all the cars. It should be because I want to help humanity. I want to help society. I want to give from what Allah has given me, right? This is something I want you to put in your hearts. And we at the Islamic Education Foundation and at the many schools that our students go to, really, this is the goal. And I know, I hope I have a lot of students that are not in Islamic schools. And I am not saying anything about you. It's really about you and your family now. It's the role of your parents now to help guide you in the right way, Islamically and academically. You can be in a public school and be the best, most, you know, religious, most, you know, respectful person, and your goals are the right goals. You know, and I know many students, mashallah, that I actually have helped outside of the school system because, you know, they know what they want and their goals are matching to what we are teaching, you know, in Islam, which is really, we want for each other, want for one another what we want for ourselves. We want to better our communities and our societies. And inshallah, through our youth, we can do that. And I want us to create a partnership here. You know, I don't mind coming on many times if you feel that I can be helpful to you in helping in the guidance of your children. It is my pleasure and honor to be able to help anyone that needs help in this process, inshallah. So I will start a little bit of my presentation, and if anyone has questions, you know, we can go and ask them, inshallah, and I'll answer as best as I can. I'll start with this one. I also have a financial aid criteria, which is a little bit more detailed than the counselors that they have given. So I want to also share that with you, but not today. Now I just want to do the overview of the webinars that we want to have, inshallah. So in the college application preparation, you know, what you need to know, inshallah, we'll be discussing that, inshallah. As I said earlier, I don't know, some people might have missed, you know, the beginning, and I'm talking to high schoolers, I'm talking to middle schoolers, especially our juniors and seniors, and not only Al Ghazali High School, but in all of the high schools in the area and abroad. please make sure that you join or that you research things and that you know your rights in your schools, inshallah, and how to become really a better student, inshallah, and build your resume. It's never too early to start. Of course, middle school is where it begins. Prepare for your future, build your high school resume. We will talk about that as well. We will have a guide to the college applications and how to apply to schools, what they expect from you, what is a common application. Many students might not know what a common application is, but I would want you to, I think I'm not presenting it correctly, sister. Let me just get that help from you to present it. Let's see. I'll try to share it again. Okay, I need to go here and share. Can everybody see that, right?
Do you want to press the present button maybe on the top?
Present, yes, okay. Thank you. So yes, in that process, the common application, we'll talk to you about what is a common application. Now that is an application that a student will file for applying to colleges. It has many, many, many universities and colleges that are a part of the Common App. So now the student is actually doing one application for many, many, many universities. I believe you can have up to 20 on one Common App, and the information will have to be done once. You will have supplementals that might need to be done and given to other schools, and I will discuss that as well in the next webinar. We will talk about the standardized testing, the importance of SATs, ACTs, having AP classes and AP scores. We did talk a little on the financial aid process. I'll talk about that a little bit more because I know scholarships is something that a lot of us look for and want to have and going into college to help our parents, afford it. How to make a decision on your college acceptances. Now we have a lot of our students who are actually finished with the college, with the applications. They're all done. Now they have received many acceptances from the different universities, mashallah. And I'm proud to say that we have students already who did early decision, and I will talk to you about the difference on how you apply. There's something called early decision, early action, rolling admissions, and you get to decide that. When you do early action, so some of our kids, mashallah, do very well. They've done well on their SATs. They have a good GPA. They have a very good resume. And they know that they want to apply to a Ivy League school or any other school. This year, alhamdulillah, we had early acceptances to MIT and to Columbia University so far. And the rest of the students that apply to the Ivy Leagues will get their decisions at the end of March. And we wish them all the best. And I always tell them, you want to go to an Ivy League, but remember who you stay humble and stay true to your faith, and true to your deen, and always stay humble. I mean, I'm not saying everyone that goes to an Ivy League school is not humble, but remember that when you go there, what will you take out of it? What will you give back after going there, to your community and to your society at large? So this is something that we will also discuss. And any questions for any of the things we will talk about, or something else that you wish for us to discuss, please feel free to let us know. Okay.
We don't have any questions yet.
Okay, I'll go to the next. So what we are really trying to promote, is academic success. Academic success comes from many areas. Of course, you want academic success, right? How do you achieve academic success? You achieve that through, the schooling that you go to, right? The courses that you are offered in your high school. You have to understand that the colleges are looking at so many applications, and they're seeing your transcript with your courses beginning from 9th grade. So many kids think, 9th grade is not important. I don't have to do so well. No, 9th grade is very important for you to keep up your grades, to take the best classes that you can take, including honors and APs. That's if it's your level. I'm not saying push yourself to take an honor AP course, and then you don't do as well and your GPA drops, you have to really take all of that into consideration. And whatever your teachers or your school recommends is usually based on your skill level. But if you feel that you have more to give, then feel free to always request or try your best to move up if you can, and do your best. The work ethic is very important in high school, because now you have a lot of responsibility, you have a lot of work to do, you have classes to do. And I know now this year, especially for many of our freshmen and juniors and sophomores and seniors, it's been a tough time going through the virtual world and learning virtually, not being in person with your teachers and being able to see them and feel that social and emotional part of it, but we are seeing each other on screens a lot, and we're offering a lot of the help that we can. I know, mashallah, Sister Nada, this year, she has gone through the whole list of our students just to check up on them. How are you doing? Do you need help? And we are always open to listening to our students when they need help. And this is a very important part of the guidance department in your school. So I want you to know your rights as well. And then, of course, the college and career readiness. Does your school have college and career readiness programs and prep? Do you meet with your counselor? I know for us at the Ghazali, we try our best to meet with each and every student individually. We talk in general and whole group when they are in high school. But when it comes to 11th grade, now we're starting to get ready to meet up with our 11th graders individually and as whole groups. And I will be doing some of these webinars for our students specifically. We'll be doing this, Sister Neda and I think starting in about 2 weeks. So we'll, be giving them this one-on-one. We'll be giving it to them as whole group, and then we check up on them. We will be working on building their high school resume in their English class. So hopefully your English classes, or you can ask for that to get you ready in 11th grade to have a high school resume, how to make one, and also to choose your teachers that will be recommending you by the end of this year. If you are an 11th grader, you should be thinking about what teachers would give you a really good recommendation letter, because we told you before, this is one of the biggest parts of that puzzle, the whole puzzle of getting into a college that you want, your dream school, the school that you want to be in. So college prep and career planning is something that you should be doing and researching, and even just starting your own accounts at the College Board. College Board has so many resources that can help you, even if you're not sure what you want to do in your career. You don't know, you're just a 9th grader right now. I don't know what I want to do yet. And you don't have to know what you want to do yet, but you do need to explore the options, explore what's out there, try to find, what you're interested in and what you love to do, because you really need to want to do that. Because if you're not happy at university in a major that you pushed yourself into, you're not going to excel. But once you actually do appreciate and love what you're learning, you will excel and you will get better and better at what you're doing. So this is important for you to think about. Yes, Nada?
Sir Khaldia, for the course offerings, would you prefer a student to take AP courses and maybe struggle in them, or take regular courses, CP courses, and maybe get A's in them? What do you think is more important?
I think I like that question, and I'm glad. I hope somebody asked that, or did you ask it? So this is a very question that I always have to talk to our students about. I know some kids feel like it's prestigious to be in an AP class or an honors class. I think, of course, the course rigor is important, and being in those type of courses, colleges know that they are very challenging, and a lot of it requires independent work. Not only, you're doing a lot on your own, you're studying a lot harder, it's taking more time. I would say to challenge yourself sometimes if you feel that you can at least get a B+ in that class. If you're not getting a B+ in that class with the higher GPA points on it, it can hurt your GPA. If you're getting a C, if you're getting a D, you don't want to be in a class that your grades are low in, because now you couldn't kind of make it in that class. That's one thing it's telling the college, and it's lowering the GPA points that they will be accumulating to see if they want to accept you or not. So my recommendation is, if you think you can do well in that class and push yourself hard, and you're getting at least a B plus or above, then I would say, yeah, push yourself. And if you can be in AP classes and honors and getting straight A's, now that's the type of student that can go to the Ivy League schools and be pushed. Now, with that being said, if you're in all CP classes throughout college, you can also be accepted into an Ivy League school, because they're also looking for something different in you. What is going to make you different? Why should I accept this student over that student, you know? And I always use this as an example, because at one time I was in a college counseling workshop in Columbia University a few years ago, where they had, 3 applicants, and they had us, the counselors, sitting down, and they said, okay, we want you to decide from these applications, who will you choose to be accepted to the school out of these 3 applications. And so they gave us the whole application. It had their transcript, it had their grades, it had their SAT scores and their AP scores, and it had their counselor's recommendation and teacher recommendations. And there was 3 different types of students. One of them was that one that did so great, like the grades were amazing and everything, A+, 1600, 1550 SAT, you name it, they had everything. They didn't have many extracurricular activities on their, name. They didn't have much leadership in there. They didn't have any of that stuff. The second student was kind of a, maybe, let's say, an A, like 90, 92 average. They were great in leadership. They had awesome recommendation letters. They had really good grades on their SAT. And then the last student, was a student as well that, had a lot of the CP classes, but they were unique. They had something called the passion project that they did. So they started this really, it was really a really nice thing that they started on their own, this community of tutoring the younger students in their school. So they started like a kind of a math prep course, English prep course, and almost, were leading about 100 students in their elementary school to tutor them. So many of the people chose the first one, who was actually, graded all the great grades and everything. They chose the last student who had the passion project, because they said they did have a really good SAT score as well, which unfortunately they really care about that a lot. This year, not much, but I think, sometimes if you show something different about you and you still had all good grades in all of your CP classes, you could have nothing to worry about, and give yourself that chance. I would say always apply to the higher reach schools, and then your middle reach, and then your safety schools, because you want to make sure you have enough out there to make sure that you get what you want in the end. And another thing that I don't want, the time is coming up, that we want you to learn, and I mentioned it earlier, is life success. Building your Islamic character, building your identity, building your personality and who you are. This is something extremely important that guidance departments should promote, and schools should promote in general, or families at home should promote. This is something our parents need to promote, all of these things, which I'm sure you are. Alhamdulillah, our community here, we're very proud, Muslims here to be in Islamic Center of Passaic County has done so much for us. Our shuyukh in North Bergen and Passaic and all around in this community have done so much for us. We thank them all, because without them, we really could not become better. I really thank each and every one of you. I thank Sheikh Qatlanani and Sheikh Osama and all of those great, alims and that come every night on our live shows here. And I really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that tonight was just a start of helping, our community either come together, and work together for the betterment of our students.
Jazakallah, Sister Khaldia and Sister Nada. We really appreciate you taking the time to present this session and bringing your valuable expertise to the community. So we really genuinely thank from the bottom of our hearts. I love the way you injected the Islamic characteristics and the reminder to why we actually do this. So I love the purpose and the reminders that you set and you injected in it. Jazakallah khairan and barakallah.
Well, I really thank you again.
question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sister Khadia.
Question?
There's one last question. The question
Okay.
is, can my son attend your seminar even though he is not attending Ghazali High School? What we're doing here, this is for the community. So
This is for the community.
Everyone is welcome to attend.
Yes, and you know what? I really, if you give me your emails, I can add your children to that email, and they are welcome to join our webinars.
Absolutely.
Just put in your emails in the chats, tell your friends and whoever you know we can benefit by this. And once we start giving our sessions to the juniors, they can join. And even if you need some one-on-one help, you know, privately email me, and I'm more than willing. Sister Nada is more than willing. We are one community, inshallah, and we are here, you know, to benefit our kids, inshallah, our Muslim ummah, our future, and we have a very vested interest in each and every one of our children, inshallah. Like I always say, the kids in Ghazali and the kids in our area, they are all our children. What I want for my son or daughter, I want for your son or daughter as well. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khairan. And the emails are in the comments. If anyone wants to reach out, it's there in the comment section.
Okay, so make sure you leave your emails and we'll add you to our list, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah fikum. Thank you again for having us and for helping Sister Rana facilitate this. Barakallah fikum.
My pleasure. Wa iyyakum. Assalamu alaikum.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.